The students of the first Lyceum in Preveza would like to welcome you to our European Etwinning Project concerning women's rights. The following podcast is going to revolve around the so-called topic, Is it a matter of hair? Let's listen to what our students have to say.
Να τρέμει όποιος χέρι τόλμα και σηκώνει. Μας παίρνουν με βία την ξεχνασιά. Μας φύτεψαν φόβο, μα φυτρώσαν φτερά.
Femicide is a term for gender-based hate crime. Generally, is defined as the killing of women or girls because they are women. It was first recorded as a term in the 1820s to 1830s. The term includes, among others, the murder of a woman as a result of violence by her partner, the torture and killing of women as a result of misogyny, the killing of women as girls as honor crimes, the targeted killing of women and girls in the context of armed conflicts, the killing of women and girls because of their sexual orientation and gender identity.
Σχεδόν κάθε μέρα θρηνούμε μια κόρη, αδερφή και μητέρα. Μέσα σε μια νύχτα μας εξαφανίζουν. Συνένοχος είναι όποιος σιωπά σαν μας αφανίζουν.
Femicide or feminicide is a hate crime which is broadly defined as the international killing of women or girls because they are female, but definitions of it vary depending on cultural context. Throughout the years, and especially in patriarchal societies, women used to be victims of male power in multiple ways, like rapes or even thrashing conducted them to death. Nowadays, women are emancipated and claim a role not only in their private place, which is their home, but in all fields, for example in politics. Nevertheless, although those facts, as well as the recognition of the term femicide in the criminal law in many countries has been established, phenomena of extravagant discriminations against them are a monthly routine, even in our country. Especially in our country, last year are stigmatized with a plethora of sexual harassment with extreme enormity. It should be noted that most of them lead to victims' death, a woeful situation that proves the inequality of our society.
Γύριζα μόνη στη θέα μιας μορφής, το αίμα μου να παγώνει. Για όλα τα χέρια που σφίγγουν κλειδιά, γινόμαστε όλες μαζί μια γροθιά.
The homicide of women by the partners or other men has become a daily occurrence in our country. The abuse of women is also in the headlines. In the last years, the numbers of female murders have been increasing. In 2020, there were counted 11 femicides, which are either wife murders or murders of women in the context of domestic or partner abuse and violence. In 2021, 17 femicides struck the country, while in the first 7 months of 2022, 12 murders of women had been identified. Until the end of the year of 2022, 21 femicides were recorded. Sadly, last month, another cruel death of a mother was witnessed, committed by her husband in her own home. The ignorance and insensitivity of the people of our country to this phenomenon are leading to its ruthless increase.
Δικαίωμα δεν έχεις στο σώμα μου επάνω. Δεν σου πέφτει λόγος που πάω και τι κάνω. Δεν είναι αγάπη ο πόνος και η βία. Όλες απαντάμε αν αγγίξεις μία.
Femicide in Greece. Femicide is a term used to explain the killing of women just for being women. In Greece, femicide cases have been worryingly increasing over the last 2 years, despite the legislations that have been made over the decades. In fact, in 2021, 17 femicides occurred, while 8,000 calls were made for domestic violence to the authorities. Accordingly, in 2022, 21 femicides took place, varying from ages of 17 to 83 years old, for the victims.
Anisa and Carolain και Eleni. Με σκότωσε το σύστημα που τους ξεπλένει.
Such was the case for 31-year-old Anisa in Daphne, Athens. In the morning of the 30th of July 2021, Anisa was murdered in her bed by her 40-year-old husband. Prior to her murder, reports were made from neighbors to the police for domestic violence, just like the one on July 11th, only 3 weeks before Anisa's brutal murder. The policeman, upon showing up 25 minutes after the call, solely rolled down the patrol's windows and went about their nights. Neighbors also testified that in multiple of the couple's fights, Anisa could be heard calling for help that she never managed to get for herself and her child. After the policeman's ignorant behavior, Anisa's neighbor posted on her social media, "I did not make a complaint for a party. I called you when our landlord was even worried. But no worries, only corpses matter on the media. So when he kills her, I will inform a TV station so they can call you." The neighbor's post infuriated the public with the police department's demeanor in such a serious situation after Anisa was killed. On the morning of her murder, Anisa was sleeping in her bed when her abusive husband wounded her twice in the neck with a 28-centimeter knife, terminating her life. After his sinister action, the 40-year-old turned himself in and confessed to the murder of his wife. The perpetrator went as far as to make claims of crime of passion. However, he was prosecuted for premeditated murder and was sentenced to life in prison. Anisa's story is just one of thousands. In the year of 2023, already one femicide has been confirmed in Greece, leading to more pressure to be put on the police departments with new legislations that have ignored more than enough domestic violence reports at the expense of numerous women's lives. Femicides in 2023 should not be unheard. However, this is the reality, setting the worst possible examples for future husbands and fathers.
This is the story of a young 19-year-old girl who was brutally killed by her husband back in 2021.
For nearly 6 weeks after the killing in May 2021, Anagностopoulos maintained that burglars had broken into the couple's suburban maisonette, used duct tape to tie them up, fatally smothered the 19-year-old Brighton, and hanged her beloved puppy from the villa's banister. It was only when confronted by inconsistencies in his version of events that he finally confessed.
Anagностopoulos told the Greek court that he had killed his wife in a blurred state of mind after a heated late-night row. The killing, a prolonged and agonizing death, was among dozens of femicides in Greece that year.
The revelations come less than 2 weeks before a custody battle over their daughter's Lydia's guardianship resumes in a Greek court. Anagностopoulos' school teacher, mother, and civil engineer father have appealed against the decision giving the Crouch family exclusive care of the child. Anagностopoulos, 35, who is being held in a high-security prison in central Greece, is also seeking to overturn his sentence before a court next month. He was sentenced to life imprisonment and an additional sentence of 22 years.
The father of Carolain Crouch, the British woman who was murdered by her Greek helicopter pilot husband as she lay asleep in their Athens home, has claimed his daughter died because her self-confessed killer got involved in drug smuggling. Speaking publicly for the first time, David Crouch, 79, said his incarcerated son-in-law, Babis Anagностopoulos, had gone so far as to give a detailed account of the events that led to Caroline's death in a typewritten letter.
David's opinions of Anagностopoulos being involved in drug smuggling are being denied by his lawyer, who says Grounds was being motivated by upcoming hearing. Caroline's death is one of the many femicides that have taken place in Greece the last few years that attracted the entire world's attention, since it is being described as a murder that fooled the world.
Eleni Topaloudi was a Greek fourth-year student of the Mediterranean Studies in Rhodes, originally from the Δημοτικό Evros. On November 28, 2018, she was gang-raped and murdered by two men on the island of Rhodes. After a months-long trial, the murderers Manolis Koukouras and Alexandros Loutsai were sentenced to life imprisonment and 15 years each for gang rape and manslaughter without mitigating circumstances. The lifeless body of Eleni Topaloudi was found on November 28, 2018 by a Coast Guard team in Lindos, in the area Fokia in Pefkos. The night before, Manolis Koukouras and Alexandros Loutsai asked the student to meet in love at the home of one of the two. She herself followed the two men, but denied any sexual contact, which led to a violent reaction of the perpetrators. The perpetrators were arrested by the authorities after an examination of audiovisual material and DNA, which led to their identification on December 5, 2018. Alexander Loutsai, in his testimony of December 5, 2018, stated that Eleni Topaloudi was tortured at home and begged the two perpetrators to take her to the hospital shortly before her death.
Personally, as a teenage girl, I face many difficulties in my daily life. The stereotypes, the pressure of the dress codes, and trying to be perfect are some of the main problems we have to overcome. We are getting disrespectful comments about our body and style, and even for being a girl in general. We are considered as the weak sex because of our strength, and also people underestimate our abilities.
On the contrary, as a boy, I don't face the same difficulties in my everyday life. I'm not receiving criticism for my clothing or my dressing style. They consider boys to be smarter and more capable of doing several jobs compared to women, as a result of social biases and every community's stereotypes in general.
Δικαίωμα δεν έχεις στο σώμα μου επάνω. Δεν σου πέφτει λόγος που πάω και τι κάνω. Δεν είναι αγάπη ο πόνος και η βία. Όλες απαντάνε αν αγγίξεις μία.